We have 5 tips that are going to help you prepare for your next race on the weekend leading up to your event. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victor Vizcaino. I'm a high performance coach, and in this video, I have the privilege of interviewing an amazing triathlete. Her name is Kari Blomster. She is from our Team Blaze Triathlon Club out of Spokane, Washington. And tomorrow she is going to be doing her second 70.3 Ironman distance. And she has some amazing tips for you. So please take a listen. Hi, Kari. Welcome to my interview. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so excited for you. Tomorrow is your race, 70.3. This is your second 70.3, Indian Wells, California. Tell us how you feel and tell us what's going on in your mind.
Oh gosh, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, Victor. I'm excited. I'm really excited for tomorrow. It's been a long journey to get here. Some things are going through my mind is I'm tired. I'm ready. I hope I didn't forget anything. And I'm just really excited to enjoy the day and see what the day brings me tomorrow.
That's awesome. Now, what's different? I know that this is your second one. What is different, or first of all, what made you choose Indian Wells 70.3?
So I was just about like a couple weeks out from Salem, and I was like, I want to do another one. And I chose Indian Wells because it's the second transition, and the finish line is like a block away from my dad's condo down here. So I was like, well, free housing, let's go.
Awesome. And also, what do you feel different from this race that you're doing different from the last one?
Yeah, good question. So as I am gearing up for Indian Wells, I know what 70.3 miles feels like. Kind of going into Salem, one of the things that when I finished Salem, my dad reminded me this week that I had said when I finished was I didn't realize how far 70.3 miles was. And I know going into this race what that is and what it takes. And I just have a lot more confidence in my body that I'm ready to do this. And it's just different. And I'm excited. So
yeah, I think you're going to nail it. You've been working really hard. And I was going to ask for 5 tips that you can give to athletes for the day of or the weekend of the race, just like you are in this position right now. And it's fresh because you've just been getting ready those things. Can you give us at least 5 things for athletes to check?
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the things that I've been going over this week as I lead up into this race is number one, I guess in no particular order, because all of these, you kind of got to go through all of these at some point, right? So one is scoping the course and knowing what the temperatures are, right? Because when you go into your race, you need to know a rough layout. Ironman does a really good job of knowing where the course is and where you're going. But if there's a lot of turns and things like that, have an idea of what's going in, of what that looks like. Like, for example, on the swim, I'm taking no right turn or no left turns tomorrow. All of my turns in the swim are to the right. So knowing what the course is, what that looks like, and knowing the temperatures, like what could the range be? For example, my race tomorrow, I'm supposed to start in the mid 40s and go up to mid 70s. But in years past, it started at like 50s or 60s and gone up to like 90s. So kind of knowing what the course is, but also knowing what the temperature is of that course is important. So I'd say that's one thing that you would want to know.
It's going to be cold tomorrow, right? The water.
Yes, the water temperature is going to be 57. It was 57.2 today, which means it is wetsuit mandatory and booties are legal. So I'm going to be wearing some booties on my feet tomorrow.
Tell us a little bit. You were telling me some of the things that you're doing to prepare for cold water, and I think that would be very useful for our audience.
Yeah. So funny enough, I signed up for this race. I was like, oh, right next to my dad's condo. I didn't look at the race ahead of time. When I started looking at it, it became very clear that it was a cold race and unlike any I've ever done before. And so one of the things that they recommended was trying to get used to cold water. And so I had a plan coming down here that I was going to take cold showers and try to get my breathing to regulate a little bit quicker and my body knowing what that feels like, because nothing's worse is jumping into water and not realizing that all of a sudden you had a panic attack because you weren't ready for that. So the pool that I'm lucky enough and grateful enough to have access to is actually 60 degrees. So I've been jumping into the pool every day and spending some time trying to get my breathing under control. So like first night I got there, I jumped in, definitely had my breath taken away, tried to get my breath under control and then got out. Day 2, similar experience, get my breath under control and then got out. And then day 3, I jumped in, got my breath under control. I had my swim cap on at that point and I was, swimming a few laps with my face in the water, trying to get used used to that experience as well.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, you're definitely ready for the cold water.
It's been a cold week, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, so another thing that I would recommend is attend the athlete briefing. I think there's always there's a lot of repeated information, and if you've been in this sport a long time, I imagine that those athlete briefings get repetitive. But there are race specific updates that go in there that you wouldn't catch otherwise. Like, it's not in the athlete guide; you wouldn't know about that. And one of the things, for example, was at yesterday's athlete briefing, they let us know that there's actually going to be motorized dinghies in the water. So if you need help and assistance quickly, there'll be paddle boards along the side, but there'll be actual motorized dinghies, and that's nice to know. So yeah, so I recommend attending the athlete briefing. And then also it's a great chance to socialize with your fellow Ironman athletes. So.
And you did that today or yesterday?
That one I did yesterday. Yeah, so I went in and checked in yesterday and did the athlete briefing, and then today the only thing I did was I checked in my bike and my two different transition bags.
All right. So making sure you go to the briefing.
Yes. And then another tip that I would recommend is having lists. Make a list. Make so many lists. I have a list for the things I needed to be able to leave my home to come down here. I had a list of the things that I needed to take with me to the athlete check-in and the athlete briefing, because you got to have your QR code, you need your ID, and then vaccine status and things like that. I had lists for each of my transition bags. I have a list for what I'm wearing in the morning. And then as I'm putting those things in the bags, I'm checking those off to know that I don't have to rely on my memory. I'm looking at this list saying, I did put that in there. I did put my body glide in there. I don't need to wake up in the middle of the night thinking about, did I forget the body glide? So that's my other tip would be to make lists.
Cool. Yes, I think that's absolutely important, because I know story after story of people forgetting very important things, such as your running shoes or something like that when you're traveling. Awesome. Okay. So making sure you have lists so that you don't forget anything.
Yes. And then I also started a list, for the record, like weeks ago and months ago for this, of things that, like, you're randomly in the middle of a meeting at work. Don't tell my boss this, but you're randomly in the middle of a meeting at work and you're like, oh, I need to remember to take my headlamp in the morning. And so you pull out your phone, you add it to your list, right? And then once you get actually into the list, you put it on paper or whatever works for you. But yeah, so it's a running list.
Because it is in the dark in the morning, right? And we don't think about that it's going to be dark when you start.
Yeah. So the headlamp, thank you. The headlamp, that was a lesson learned from my first endurance race. Was I showed up at 5 and it wasn't like they had the floodlights, right? But you couldn't see any of the like intricate details that you needed to do. So I took a lesson learned from the guy next to me, and I'm packing my headlamp tomorrow morning.
Awesome. Cool. Have a list. Don't forget anything. Don't forget your headlamp.
Yeah, the headlamp's important. Another tip or recommendation, I guess, would be visualize going through your transitions, right? So at this point, later tonight, I'm probably going to spend some time, and I've already kind of done it a little bit this morning while I was out there dropping off my bags, but I know what the transition area looks like. Okay, I'm going to come out of the water and I'm going to go here. My rack is the second rack in. It's about halfway down, grab my bag, go over and sit in the chair, and you walk through what your transition looks like. And what this does is it gets you a little bit more comfortable. You know, you're coming out of the water, you're going to be freezing, you're not thinking, there's so much going on, there's cheering, and you've already kind of gone through it from one perspective. But the other reason why I do it is because there are things in my transition that as I'm thinking through that maybe I forgot to think about when I'm making my lists. And so as you're visualizing your transitions, you get a chance to go, oh, I forgot I need a second towel to put my feet on because the grass or the dirt or whatever it's going to be is going to get stuck to my feet and cause a blister. I don't know. That's not actually a thing, but just an example that I try to come up with. So I recommend visualizing going through the transitions, knowing where you're going to be coming in and out of and what that looks like.
Do you feel that the visualizations helps your confidence because you've already kind of visualized how it's going?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've seen what that looks like in your ideal world, right? So, you've got an idea of what could happen and what ideally would happen, but also knowing that reality is I might get out of the pool and there's no chairs to sit on, or get out of the lake and there's no chairs to sit on. So my walkthrough just changed. And that's one of the beautiful things about triathlons is you can plan to everything, and a curveball gets thrown and you just got to run with it. So,
all right. So visualization, very important.
Yes. The last thing that I would recommend is leading up to the race is knowing what your sleep and nutrition schedule and plan looks like. If you're able to, or if you're wanting to be that competitive, I guess. So knowing that I have to leave here at 4 a.m, which means I need to get up at 3, which means I need to sleep for 8 hours beforehand, which means I need to go to bed at 7 because math is hard. And I was trying to say 8 earlier, and Dad was like, no, it's 7. Kari. But so know what your sleep plan is, not only the night before, but a couple of days before that, because we all know it's not just the day before preparation. It leads into that.
Start getting a circadian rhythm going.
Yes, that too. Yeah, don't start a really good book 2 days before the race. Bad idea. I'll let you know how that goes, but I'm thinking that might be a bummer choice for me.
It's like Netflix for me.
Yes. Yeah. It's so hard to put the books down or turn the TV off. So,
all right.
Oh, and then the food plan. So having a rough outline of how many calories you're wanting to eat, what macros you're trying to hit, and making sure that you're not all of a sudden stuck you accidentally miss a meal 3 days before your race, because that's not ideal, right? You want to fuel your body to be able to make it through the race. So,
all right. So nutrition and sleep.
Yep. Have a plan for that.
Is there any other tip that might come?
Yeah. So, the last thing I would just say is have fun, right? Like the whole point of triathlons is, especially when you get into the endurance, is enjoying that journey, right? We're here, every day is a training day. We are enjoying every moment. And so just make sure as you're leading up to this and you're getting frantic because you've got 3 different places to be able to drop off all your transition bags. And I'm not projecting because I did this morning, but no, make sure you're enjoying the moment and you're having fun. You remember why you're here, and it's to have fun and to maybe even make those connections with other random people from different states or countries. So,
all right. So making sure you, like they say in Team Blaze, enjoy the journey.
Yes, enjoy the journey.
All right. So have fun. And what about one more tip for the person who's doing it for a very first time, never done a 70.3, and is very nervous the weekend of the race? Was there any tip that would be helpful to stay calm, or all these kind of maybe help calm them down?
My biggest tip for a first timer is don't have any expectations for what that race looks like. Go into it with the open mind that you can, because you can, like I said earlier, plan everything down to a T, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to happen. And it could be really crap weather. It could be a flat tire. Somebody could cut you off in the bike or the run, or you might just nail it and knock it out of the park and have a wonderful day. But if you've got expectations for how that day is going to go, you run the risk of not meeting those and being disappointed. So enjoy the journey and try not to set expectations for what the race should look like.
Thank you so much, Kari. These are awesome tips that I think that our Team Blaze members, our people who are listening to this, they can take away those 5-6 valuable tips that are going to make their day much, much easier. And I'm hoping that I can get another interview after the race and see how that went.
Yeah, I'd be down. Let's do it.
Yeah, so. I know it's difficult right after the race because it's so chaotic. I've been there before and you don't know how you feel, but hopefully in the short term, a few days afterward, we can get together and see how that went. In the meantime, we're going to track you down on the Ironman app.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm excited. One day they're going to be able to make that app so that you can hear the cheers of everybody else that's actually watching that app for you. And I'm really looking forward to that day.
I love your background, by the way. I like the little triathlon.
I definitely stole that from some random website. So thank you very much to whatever website that was.
Nice.
I almost pulled an Ironman logo down and then I was like, no, they'll find that and they'll sue Victor. And I don't want to do that. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Kari. You have an awesome race and please stay triumphant and enjoy your journey.
Thank you. You too.